Good evening, everyone. Wonderful to see you. It's really exciting. My goodness, our community is really rising at such a rate that it is amazing. I'm just seeing an ad there. One sec, I just need to skip the ad so I can see what's going on the channel. Yeah, but it's definitely working. I'm live. Great. Well, wonderful to see you all. I just have to switch to the other screen, so give me a second so that I can see that everything is in order here, and it is. Everything's fine. Great. So wonderful to see you. And well, we have so many exciting things tonight. We actually have things going all the way from the age of 9 to 79. So what's up tonight? We've grown incredibly fast. Thank you for all your kind emails. I have been swamped in a very good way with emails from all over. It's amazing. Thank you, Osprey Mama. I see some more people there on the chat. By the way, our mod tonight is Yellow Dog. Thank you very much to Jackie from the Channel Islands for being the mod. She has helped me get background information about the Channel Island. She's put me in touch with Dr. Peter Sharp. You're going to hear an interview. We are going to go and see a 9-year-old with the name of Bradley to start off the show and talk a little bit about eagles. You'll see his own channel, which I will blend in now in the background. iBrad X360. Do check him out. Quite amazing. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk a little bit about the genus of sea eagles and all the different species we have and what has happened there. We're going to look at some amazing footage that Lady Hawk has taken. Oh gosh, I have so many contributions from so many people, and I hope I'll remember all your names as we go through all the information. It's most incredible. The interviews we have, one with David Hancock, who tells us a little bit about the origin of how the binomial names came about. We're going to hear Bradley, and I'll talk a little bit about photographic equipment. Some people have asked me, how do you do live streaming out in the field? So I'm very happy to show you all my secrets. Okay. Hi from Phoenix. I see all of you. And most of all, a big question was, can we slow the whole thing down? Can we do it a bit longer? And the answer is yes. I have so many notes, and I also want to enjoy just reading what you write on the screen. So I will slow down and we'll extend the session just over an hour to 2 hours. We'll see how it goes. When you get bored, I'll switch off, okay? But certainly there's a lot of interesting and amazing material. So what I would like to do now is I'm going to switch off my mic so I don't have any interference, and I'm going to now switch this over to Bradley. So just give me a second.
Hi everyone, I'm Bradley. Christian, thanks for having me on. You know, I've really enjoyed eagles, and I really like this one nest in Commando Island, Washington. In fact, I actually made a little book around kindergarten when I was like 6. It was about the golden eagle. I included some facts and even some of your photos in there. It was pretty nice. Now, I'm 9 years old, and I have something new to share with you. So, I'm here in Photoshop, and, well, I just got this really nice reference from Christian, and it's really nice because it has a really great angle. And there's like 2 eagles in there, so if I'm looking at one, I can't find what I'm looking for. All I have to do is move my eyes towards the other one. Oh my gosh, look, it has it! Yay, now I know what I'm supposed to do and what I'm actually supposed to draw. And also, it's just like really nice to look at for some reason. Like, I know it's just a reference. You're just supposed to use it for what you're doing, but it is really nice to look at. By the way, the brushes I'm using chunky charcoal and the hard round brushes. And here's a bald eagle fact. Bald eagles lay 1 to 3 eggs, and that may not sound like a lot, but me and my brother, we're quite a handful. And well, what could go wrong with 3? Christian, back to you.
Oh my goodness, over back to me. Isn't that wonderful what Bradley did? Hey, I've seen some comments, they want lessons from you, Bradley. Well, it's open for you're open to run. So you've seen Bradley's page. Isn't it wonderful? So that's a contribution from a 9-year-old. That's our future. Thank you so much, Bradley. Over to you next time, right? And by the way, if anybody has children that want to contribute something with eagles, in whatever way, they're very welcome to write to me and participate. So thanks for really heading this whole thing up, Bradley. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, it was amazing. And now let's jump to the second contribution. Let's jump to the Channel Islands. So just give me a second and get back to my desktop now. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, here we go. We are now back on the we are now going over to the Channel Islands. For those of you who don't know the Channel Islands, I'm just going to get out of the way so that you can see it a little bit better. That's much better. So the Channel Islands are on the west side of Southern California, and they're islands, of course. And the interesting thing is that you can see there's some green marked islands a little bit more in the north, and those are now part of a national park. But for many years, this very, very idyllic scene has also had its controversies. They had to deal, believe it or not, with a lot of environmental pollution. And this is where the contribution goes today. And this is also where Yellow Dog has given me, that is, Jackie has given me a lot of information. Thank you very much, Jackie. She's put me in contact with Dr. Peter Sharp, whom I was privileged to interview 2 days ago. Dr. Peter Sharp has been working there for quite a long time, and they have their own website. It's absolutely remarkable. If you really want to learn something about eagles, have a look at the Institute for Wildlife Studies. I will tell you a little bit more about it, but let's get Dr. Peter Sharp in the interview, and I only have his voices over the phone. Let him talk and explain what the situation there is. You may know that they had DDT manufacturing there, and for long DDT was considered a very healthy supplement to the environment. You probably know that DDT was invented or discovered in 1930, and in the 1940s soldiers were sprayed with DDT, and everybody thought it was marvelous. They sprayed it on food and whatever they could find. It took a long time for legislation to get firm and to really come through with a book called The Silent Spring. You may have heard of this book. I'll mention it at another time. We'll talk a bit about The Silent Spring. I think it was published in 1962, that really gave the incredible dangers and the environmental hazards of DDT. So let's talk. Let me just jump now to Dr. Peter Sharp, and let's go for the interview. Just give me a second so I get everything right here, because I have so many. The problem is now I have so many knobs and so to turn on and turn off. So I will let me see. I have to go back here. And I have, yes, here we go. This is exactly what I wanted to do. So give me a second. Here we are. So what you see here is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nests, the location of 8 nests on the Channel Island. And Yellow Dog, if you're interested to put any additional comments on here, you're very welcome to do that. So let's jump right into the interview. I'm just going to switch off my microphone and let Peter Sharp talk. Doing quite wonderful things there. What I would like to ask you is about the level of DDT that was there initially. Can you give us a little bit of background about that? Was the contamination worse there than other areas?
The levels of DDE, when we started getting our first eggs laid in the late 80s, were at about, I think, 32 parts per million, which was almost 4 times of what it was recorded in other areas. So it was extremely high here.
And what is the reason for the high level there?
The primary reason for the high levels of DDE were that the main manufacturer, Montrose Chemical, was in Torrance, and for decades, DDT-contaminated materials were going through the sewage system and into the ocean. So it made a huge area of contaminated sediment on the ocean floor, just 20 to 25 miles from Catalina Island.
And now looking back at the health of the eagles, since your work has been there for many years, how has the health of the eagles actually improved?
The eagles are now able to breed on their own. We were actually taking the eggs from 1989 through 2005. We would take all the eggs, replace them with artificial eggs, and then try to hatch the eggs in incubators. And there was a very low hatching success, below 20% hatching success. Starting in 2006, we left eggs in nests on Santa Cruz Island, and chicks hatched from those. In 2007, we started leaving them in some of our nests on Catalina, and those also hatched. And by 2009, we weren't removing any more eggs, and most of them now hatch on their own.
And could you actually measure the calcium thickness of the shells, of the eggshells? Is it possible to measure that and to thereby determine the health of the eggs?
You can measure the eggshell thickness, but from what I understand, our issue wasn't really with the thickness of the eggshell, but more with the structure of it, so that if the contaminated eggs would have larger pores in the eggshell, and they would dehydrate too quickly. For instance, they're supposed to lose about 15% of their weight over their 35-day incubation period. When I was taking eggs in the late 90s, some of these eggs would have lost all that weight within the first 2 to 3 days after being laid. So our main problem was the dehydration through the eggshell.
Oh, that's very interesting. This is new to me. I'm glad you mentioned this, because my understanding was initially that the calcium wouldn't develop properly in the oviduct of the eagles, and thereby the thickness was the issue. This is the first time I hear about the porosity, so this is interesting. So at too high porosity, therefore it was losing too much weight and dehydrating very quickly. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that came about with scanning electron microscopy, so you could actually look at the egg shell close up. So I think if you actually measured the weight of the eggshell, then there would be an obvious decrease in weight, just because the larger pores and therefore probably less calcium in the shell.
Ah, very, very interesting. And I'm just interested, from a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the environmental health now as it is?
Overall health, or as related to the DDT problem?
Well, maybe both. I like you're very specific. You're very specific, so maybe you can answer both questions.
Okay. For the DDT level, we know that unfortunately it still is in the system. It's in egg contents of some peregrine eggs that we've collected over the last few years. So for the DDT, I would say maybe 10 being the best, probably around a 5 or 6. In terms of general health of the environment, at least for the Channel Islands, I would say maybe a 7 or so. my biggest concern right now is the increase in the occurrence of red tide and potential poisoning of especially young eagle chicks with domoic acid that they picked up through the fish.
And where's that coming from? Where's that coming from?
It's just warmer water, more organic material in the water, so runoff from sewage treatment, agricultural fields, just things that are adding more nutrients to the ocean, and it just causes these huge algal blooms, and then that gets into some of the smaller fish, and it affects, we know it affects sea lions and seals. It's a neurotoxin, and I think it probably could kill some really young bald eagle chicks. In fact, I think we saw that in one of our nests in the late 2000s when 2 chicks died within 3 days of hatching. So I think that's probably a bigger concern than the DDT right now.
Well, that's interesting. So that puts another 2 questions actually about the question, are things getting worse again? Now, how long do you think it'll take to get rid of, so that the health of at least as far as DDT is concerned is back to 10 on the best scale? And the other and the other question, of course, if things are really getting worse, are you seeing more a bleak future for the islands as far as eagles and wildlife is concerned?
Let's see. For the DDT, I think it is slowly getting out of the system. Now, how long that'll take, I really don't know. Some of the modeling actually had it increasing through the mid-century, and then declining by 2100. But from what I understand, the EPA is having difficulty finding some of the contaminated spots that they've been sampling off the Palos Verdes Peninsula where all that DDT was being dumped. So it could be getting covered with sediment. I don't know if ocean acidification could help speed up the breakdown of it. So I really can't say for the DDT.
Right.
So I don't think DDT is going to be much of an issue, although it is concentrated in marine mammals, and bald eagles do like to feed on marine mammals. So, I mean, it can still be a potential impact on the birds, but I don't think it's going to be significant enough to stop all reproduction. I think that would be more particular for certain birds that maybe have access to a lot of marine mammals.
Right. And the other question,
else, ocean acidification and domoic acid poisoning, all of that, I don't really know what we could do about that currently.
Right.
Just with the climate change, the oceans could get warmer, which could lead to more algal blooms. I really don't know what impact the ocean acidification will have on the birds. It does work at the bottom of the food chain as things aren't able to get calcium out of the water and form their shells, etc. So I don't know how that'll work its way through the system. It may just impact food availability.
Right, I think that's all very alarming. So what are the? It is seriously alarming, and it's. I hope that people get that message. So what are the plans in coming years, as far as your organization is concerned?
Well, unfortunately, our funding that we've had for the last 15 years through a lawsuit settlement against Montrose Chemical runs out at the end of this month.
Oh.
So they've been funding us
since
2002.
No.
So we are scaling back significantly. It's just going to be 2 or 3 of us surveying as many, or trying to survey all the bald eagles and as many peregrine falcons as we can on the islands. but it's going to be monthly checks instead of bi-weekly checks. And we hope to, well, we're going to do that for 2018 and hopefully for 2019 if we can raise enough money through fundraising.
Right.
And after that, we'll just have to see after that.
Oh, well, that's best of luck. That's bleak. I'm sorry to hear that, really. Oh, my goodness. Well, maybe a bit of a lighter question. David Hancock, this is coming back to the story of Stephen and, the transmitter that he had on mounted on his back. And it was beautiful tracking 2006 to 2009. And David Hancock actually saw him, at the Vancouver landfill.
Right.
So it's quite a nice story, actually. But what happened to him after 2009? That's something that David asked me. So
he Stephen Jr. set up a territory on the north coast of Santa Cruz Island, and is breeding this season. They actually had their first chick. They tried for a few years and not been successful, but this year he had his first chick.
Oh, very nice. Well, that's some positive news. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's been on the island. He went back and forth to the Vancouver, Washington, Oregon area probably 4 or 5 times, and then would come back down to the islands in the spring. And he did that until he set up the territory, which we call Fry's Harbor on Santa Cruz Island.
Right, right. Okay. I hope the audio came across okay. I can't always hear the audio on my side because I'm hearing an echo. As long as you don't hear the echo, it's fine. But you can see this was a rather shocking contribution here from Dr. Peter Sharp. Let me just go back to his website and show you some more. 1 second. So this is their website, Institute for Wildlife Studies. They have incredible details there. It's absolutely amazing. So do have a look. And as you heard, their funding is going out, is drying up, which is really unfortunate. Audio is good. Thank you, Lady Hawk. That's good to know. The audio is the most difficult thing to control here with so many computers. So it always worries me. Yes, Yellow Dog has given you a link, and the link that she is referring to is this page here. That's a support page, right? I'm just putting this up right now. So those are the support options. You know, what can I say? It really saddens me. We have to take care of our planet. It's one planet. We share the planet. And you can hear how important environmental research protection is. We all have to be part of it. So people like Peter Sharp, who are doing an absolutely amazing job, the knowledge that they can pass on to us and to others, the care they take of eagles is infinitely important for our future. So you can see even the DDT problem is not yet solved, and new environmental problems are already on the horizon, and they're so little understood. So how important it is now to understand the acidification of the oceans and many other things that we're facing. So thank you for listening to that. So let's go a little bit more into the Channel Islands and have a look what else there is. So what is amazing, what I really like about the website here, you can see they have these annual reports. This is just one thing called bald eagle restoration on the California Channel Island. I'm just giving you an example of the excellent work that they're doing. And it's written here by Peter Sharp, who you just heard. And what's so amazing is you get all the details, the observations of all the 8 nest sites that they have in tremendous detail. Really worth reading. You know, I spend so much of my time now just reading and educating myself in order even to keep up with everything. It's just as you can see, the porosity of the eggs, All this was new to me. I didn't know that that was the effect of DDT, and these are important things to understand. I just wanted to show you, and I already saw something good. I saw, is it right, Lola Boo? Is that you? Lola Boo, I already saw saw you here. So I want to give credit to you too. You got this wonderful channel, and you have here the West End Superman, and thought, no, this is amazing. There's this there's this male called Superman, and Yellow Dog can tell you much more about Superman. But he's a Superman because he's got these two huge females he's looking after. So there's the one trio nest, and then we have the other trio nest, right? And so do have a look about of Superman. He's quite a star there. And then I also had to look at the other one, of course, that. Sorry, is it Lollaboo? Yeah, I got your name right. Lollaboo has the other trio nest, and that's where there are two males and one female. So she's monitoring them both. So thanks for doing all this excellent, the excellent contributions. And there's so many things we're learning. That's why I'm so excited. All this thing. Do eagles really mate for life? There are no such things as facts. These facts. Ever since the 2000s, we're learning so much, and it's only the beginning, right? I mean, we have the nest, we have, of course, the Northeast Florida camera nest, where they've been monitoring it for 10 years with Gretchen and all the things. We have the excellent nest from Southwest Florida, of course, with the Pritchett family, and then we have the Berry nest with this incredible community and so on. Now we're looking at the Channel Islands. We've got the DC nest, which has an amazing history, as we learned last time, the way they cleaned up, the pollution in the local river there. Just all these things we're learning. There's so much information out there. And by the way, I wanted to say hello to Judy B. Now, Judy B is a person that is absolutely amazing. I don't have your website here, Judy B, but Judy B has done the most meticulous accounting of the nests across North America. Judy, if you can put your website in, it would be wonderful. But do Google Judy B's Eagle Nest if you have not seen her incredible work on the Excel sheets. It's something I want to dedicate more time, go through all her data. And she's corrected me a few times. Thank you, Judy. She said to me, I'll give you some examples. One thing she said to me, well, Christian, you mentioned last time that the eagles come back. How sure are you? And then I said, well, I think there's Delia. Delia we discussed last time. Delia came back to the nest, and Delia has this very distinct beak, which seems to be some evidence. So I addressed the same question to Dr. Peter Sharp, and he said, yes, we do observe some of the eaglets coming back, but he says that is not very common. So maybe, Judy, that was a very good point. It is not as common as we think. Some return to the nesting areas, and most don't seem to return. And that's why this institute from Peter Sharp that we've just been looking at is so useful, because they've been doing this analysis in detail. So it's very, very nice. So thank you, Judy B, for that contribution. So if you feel there's some corrections of things that I say, excellent, please correct me. I'm a scientist. I'm for precision. So, bring it on. That's fine with me. No problems, no pride here. We're all on a learning curve. So that's just great information. I like that, especially when it comes to precision. Okay. So let's move on. Next, this was another Andrea Worrell. Andrea, very nice contribution here. This is another thing that's going on the West End. That's where Superman is, if I understand correctly. This is another Superman. This is the nest of Superman. It's got a nightly visitor there, right? So do look at that too. Very interesting. So let me just make sure I switch off everything. So otherwise, you're going to get these. I better be careful. Otherwise, you're going to. You're going to hear everything, so I have to be a little bit careful that my audio doesn't go crazy here. Okay, and now let's go on with now we are going on to the Northeast Florida nest. Let me just make sure I have everything here that I wanted to say. Yes, just quickly what Jackie wrote to me of the channel. K91 female that you saw is soon to be 9 years old. The male is still has still a wing marker, but he's 18 years old, and that is K01. Okay, just for your information. Thank you, Jackie. That is our the yellow dog who is just. I just wanted to add those notes that I'm quickly reading here. And Jackie has also bombarded me with lots of notes that you can find. She calls it the class of 86 photographs of all the different K64, 63, by the way, of the channel. So I just wanted to mention that. So let's go to the Northeast Florida nest. This is amazing. Now the Northeast Florida nest, and here is a contribution, and I really don't want to favor anybody, but this is a contribution here from D.E. Eagle. So let's have a look at D.E. Eagle's contribution. Really nice. And this is, so our NE18 and NE19 are now 11 and 13 days old. By the way, if you go to Judy B's website, you will find all that data is available, because she's put up, she's a master at Excel. You know, I love Excel, so we're good friends there. And you can read from that they're exactly 11 and 13 days old. Not that you wouldn't know, but it's just interesting. Now, I always thought that the Northeast Florida nest was a very quiet nest and everything was fine. Well, it seems so, but they had some serious owl attacks. So Diana Labertson's video, and I just want to go and have a look and see if I can find it. So just hold on for a second. I just have to find her video. I've got so many things to look at here. So let me just put a quick stop. You can see how quickly they grow, and we're going to get to the incredible rate at which they're growing in a second. So let me just jump back to my notes here. Here's my Northeast Florida nest, and Diana has made me aware that this is, of course, the American Eagle Foundation's copyright. Yes, that is to be understood. If I ever miss out the copyright, do understand that. But she's right. This is the copyright information. So what she's done here is, and this is Diana Lambertson's screenshots here, is something I didn't know. Again, I mean, I was really learning a lot of education. It happens to both Florida nests. They get attacked by owls. Imagine you're sleeping at night, and then some really horrible things happen. So let me just go back to the sequence, Diana, and see if I can get this. So what is happening here? Let's just have a look. Because there were several attacks. Let me just look at the last picture. There it comes. This is an attack in the nest. It's absolutely incredible. Now my question, maybe Lady Hawk knows this. Was this a barred owl, actually? Does anybody know what type of owl? It must have been a huge owl, which came with incredible momentum. And we can also now take here a video, and let's look at the video here. Here's our friend Bald Eagles Naturally, and she's documented this very well, and she's with us tonight. So there you go, Romeo and Juliet, and just have a look at this now. Oh, this is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So thanks for capturing that. And you're going to see it, as I remember now, in slow motion too. Yes, it's a barred owl. Thank you, Northeast Florida Eagle Camp. So it is a barred owl, because I thought it must be so you do have a lot of barred owls, and you can see it in slow motion here. There's the date, and this is all very recent. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Oh, someone says it's a horned owl. Okay, well, great horned owls attack nests too. Yes, they do. So you have great horned owls too. We have more barred owls in our, so it was a barred owl. Thank you for the information. Oh my goodness, this must be so upsetting, really upsetting. And we'll get to the Southwest Florida nest later and look at E8 when it was injured through an owl attack. So thank you very much for that contribution. Really very informative and absolutely shocking, really shocking. I was completely shocked when I saw this. Okay, so let's just move on again. Make sure that I get all the information here. So that was Sincerely Janet Faubel. Yes, that was from and there's also Janet Adams. I get confused with all the names. So that was Bald Eagles Naturally. Yes, right. So we have all that. And so let's jump to the Southwest nest now. 1 second. let me just do this quickly. I have so many screens, I always have to look where I am. Oh, this is still the northeast one. Oh, there was another. Lady Hawk has made a beautiful contribution too. Let me just play this very quickly. 1 second. There you go. This is Lady Hawk's. I mean, they've grown so much, and we'll get back to Lady Hawk when she gives information about the Southwest Floridas, and we'll talk a bit about the rate of growth. I mean, the rate of growth is mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. And how they actually develop and how much they grow per day is really interesting. And I actually found some data on that together with Lady Hawk's incredible images. So I just wanted to show you her excellent contribution here. Thank you, Lady Hawk. Really amazing. And amazing. Thank you for all the help that you've given. You can see that this, I love the comparison here of the talent. Isn't that amazing? Really amazing. Okay. Yes, and I just wanted to tell you there are many others out there. Just examples here. Elaine gives very good contribution on the Northeast Florida nest, and so does Lil's Sunrise, and so on and so on. So I really don't want to miss out on anyone, and I don't want to, and please understand if there's someone, this is not deliberate, right? Everything is excellent. It really is. Those are excellent contributions. So there's no favoritism here. I applaud everybody and everyone who does this. Okay, okay, let's move on. Yes. Now there is something interesting. I also am interested often in ground watchers, and I was made aware of Vicky's excellent groundwork, and huge applause to Vicky. Ever since last week, where somebody said, take a look at what Vicky is doing. She is at the Southwest Florida nest, and she takes these amazing videos early in the morning. She's been doing this for years and years. So this is her channel. Do have a look at her channel. This is great. It shows she's got this abbreviation which I cannot pronounce. WSKRSN Wings. That's her. That's her site, and it really is worth looking at her work. So that's Vicky. Excellent, Vicky. And then, of course, yeah, I have to look at my notes again because this is about E8, and this is a session. And I have to see who sent me this contribution. 1 second, so I don't get my yeah, that was Suzanne. That was Suzanne. I think that was Suzanne. Southwest. Yes, Suzanne gave me a copy of the E8's Rescuer. You can find this online. Amazing work here. That was done where it really reads like a thriller. So do take the time and see what excellent work is done at CROW, yeah, C-R-O-W. That is a rehabilitation, that's a rescue center, similar to what we have here, OWL. And you can see the work that they do and the rescue that they put in. Absolutely wonderful, marvelous. And thank you for that note and the contribution. Okay, and let's see what's going on. So I looked a little bit into the rescue history of of E8, and this was from, let me just, sorry, this contribution here comes from J. Birdie Home. J. Birdie Home has put together a very nice slideshow here of the rescue. I think this was a journalist that did this originally, and she put this together. Very interesting to see the whole rescue mission there. Quite amazing. So thanks for that contribution. You can see that was February, I think, yeah, that was February 2016, 9th of February 2016. Good. So let's move on again. Move on. So that was the Southwest. If I have missed out anything on the Southwest Florida nest, just tell me. Yes, Vicky is fantastic. I'm reading your contributions here. So yes, we're waiting at the Southwest. Again, remember what I said about the Southwest Florida nest? My own prediction on your data, not my data, your data, is 25th, 26th for the hatch, right? Hold your breath and find out. In the end, who cares, right? Who cares, as long as it hatches? I know the clock says it's 24th, so let's see anyway. Very nice. Okay, so yes, and now we come to berry. My goodness, to the berry nest. Let me just jump into my notes again. The berry nest, and this is Nicole. Wonderful Nicole. Nicole sends me these incredible summaries every week now. I really love that. Thank you so much, Nicole. Great work. So she's told me not much activity at the berry nest, just others than restoration. Well, she's given me this link. So let's have a quick look at what's going on at the berry nest, doing lots of restorations there. What did you say? Cottontail rabbit got mostly eaten by dadberry on nest. Mum had little leftovers to pick at. Unknown if it was a roadkill, found or caught by dad. When dad brought it in, it was pretty mangled. Okay. The pictures she sent to me, so I'll show you them in a moment. And then she says, mainly restorations were seen, no intruders. Well, so they had a quiet week. There was no more snow, as you can see, so everything's fine. And that was the link that she's given me. It's a beautiful campus there, and I hope to see it one day. So let me just jump now to Nicole's contribution here. I just have to make sure I stop this so you don't get feedback. So let's see where my folder was. Okay, 1 second. Berry, yes, this is the berry nest. Gina has given some photos too, so you'll see them. So let's first look at some photos from Nicole here. Okay, so this is all from Nicole. What's been going on at the nest. You see this is from the 18th. Thank you, Nicole. Dad, Barry, thank you for labeling them all. I wouldn't have a clue otherwise. So that's very nice. Oh, Vicky's video is on the background. Is it still? Oh, yeah, I hope there's no audio problem here. If there's an audio problem, let me know, because sometimes I just don't know. Yeah, there's something going on in the background. I'm not sure. Let me just make sure they're all stopped. 1 second. I just need to stop. There may be an audio problem here, because I don't want. Maybe I didn't stop this. Just let me go quickly through, make sure that there is no audio issue here. Yeah, that's an audio issue. That's right. That's right. Okay, sorry about that. I'm just going to quickly jump and make sure that there's no video on this. Give me a second. This one's also on it, but I better switch it off. Make sure they're off so you don't have any audio. Okay, they're all fine now. They're all fine. That audio should be gone. Okay, that audio should be gone now. So sorry about that. So there we go. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, the audio is gone now. Okay, let's jump back to the nest now. Okay, there we go. So here we are. So there she writes, Dad Berry, Mum Berry, Dad Berry, Mum, Dad. Thank you. You can see Mum's a bit bigger. Dad, Mum. I love it. Dad brings. Here's the rabbit she was talking about, right? That was on the 15th. Very nice to see. And there, Dad brings it in. Oh yes, and look at the nice. This is also taken on the 14th by Tony Ennis. Thank you for putting the name of the photographer in. Very nice contribution. And here's another one from Miranda Mink. Beautiful photograph. You see these are the ground observers. Very nice work. And another here from Bill Cameron. Beautiful. There's Ma and Dad from the berry nest. Thank you. And Dad Berry, very nice, bringing a big stick here. Huge stick, isn't that nice? Oh, here's the chapel. How interesting. Located on the Barry College campus. Very nice. Oh, this is a beautiful photograph. Look at that. This is Jason Blalock photography. Very nice. Mum Barry. That was just taken a few days ago. Absolutely marvelous. I love the snow. Beautiful photography, absolutely excellent. And here another one from Bill. There's our pair. And here comes a mating scene. Oh my goodness, this is so important. And you can see Big Mama on the bottom and Papa on top. Wow, that's quite something, Larry. So that was on the 14th. There was mating. Very good shot, very nicely done. And this signature I cannot read now. So excuse me if I cannot read the read this. Here's Max. Oh, Max. I don't know if Max is here, but Max has got this incredible grummy look here from Mum Barry. Let's just zoom in and have a look what Mum's doing there. Very nice contribution. Beautiful photography. You can see how important light is, right? Isn't it? Isn't absolutely magnificent. Really magnificent, magnificent. Oh, this is another one from Max Hester. Oh, amazing angle. So he's taken this from a very steep angle upwards. You can see the beautiful illumination of the sun coming from the side there. Really beautiful. So excellent photography here. Wow. And another one, really beautiful, Max. And here's the Roosevelt cabin located on the campus again. And here's Tony's. Okay, I think we've got them now. And let's just jump. And then we have something from Gina too. Gina contributes beautiful photographs every week. Thank you, Gina. And let's have a look. And there's Gina. Ah, that's Gina's signature. Sorry. Sorry, Gina. I now recognize that's you. That's you. So the one that was your credit, just with Nicole's. So here's obviously they're eating something. Oh, this is also an amazing angle. Beautiful and beautifully processed, by the way. The wings are coming out very beautifully here. Absolutely stunning job, Gina. Oh my goodness, stunning, stunning, absolutely stunning work. 1A or 10A, whatever scale, it's the top scale. Top marks for you there. Oh my goodness, look at that. From different angles, you must have rushed around. Oh, I mean, this was like a peep show, right? Look at this, amazing, beautiful. Oh, and this is, I love this one. That is beautiful. Let's just have a look. Very, very nice, very nice. Beautiful photography here. Light and everything. Absolutely excellent. You can see the incredible weather that they have there. Thank you, Gina, for that. Thank you so much. Very nice. So let's jump on again and go to the next contribution. Yes, the next contribution. This was, I think Suzanne told me this, if I remember correctly. This is her group called the B3 Branch Buddies. So be aware that the B3 Branch Buddies are around. And if you want to join them, you're very welcome. They're looking for more people to chat with, to have contributions. So there is your B3 Branch Buddies on Facebook. Okay, there you go. Berry College Eagles. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, and then there is a support page, of course. If you want to do some support, you're very welcome for contributions here for the Berry College Eagles. You can see you can put your gift amount in, and it's a nice thing to do for Christmas. There you go. So there's your it's called the web page is berry.webconics.com.eagle. Okay, so I'll put all the links in later. There are going to be a lot of links. And then they have a gift shop too, as you can see, beautiful gift shop. So if you haven't got any gifts for Christmas, this is your last chance. And now we come to other contributions. Okay, so we've had the berry contributions, very nice. Thanks to everybody from the berry nest. And now we come to others. And the first contribution I have here is an email from Cecilia. And Cecilia writes to me that she very much is involved with many nests. She's watching the Harrison Mills and Delta from the Hancock Wildlife Foundations, and she does love corvids, especially crows. So she said, Christian, can you do something on crows or ravens? I'm sure we can fit that in at some stage, and if there is enough interest, we can surely do that. So then she asked me something very interesting. Have you heard of the Arconic Eagle Nest Cam in Iowa? The answer is no, Cecilia, I have not. You may be interested in their webpage. And what is interesting is on the webpage, you can actually track the eagles. I didn't know that. Thank you very much. So here is the Arconic Eagle camera, and they keep a beautiful log. And you can also, and I have to find out where it was. Yes, here there's a map, and you can find on a specific day. For example, this was posted on Friday, December the 11th, when was it? December the 12th, I think it was. And you can see the movement. So obviously they have a tracker on the eagles which is quite amazing. And you can see how they move, which is really great information. Thank you for giving that. That was very valuable. So do have a look at this nest. Beautiful information. Our conic eagle camera. Thank you, Cecilia, for that. And then we come to Kevin. The next contribution is from Kevin. And Kevin makes me aware, Kevin lives in Texas, and he's made me aware of a page called the John Bunker Sands Wetland Center. Beautiful page, and they've done a lot of environmental care here. They have a live eagle camera, and this is the page that he likes. So they have an interesting, this looks really crazy because of the angle, but you can see there, this is obviously a high voltage pole, and they built the nest right there. So these high voltage poles are excellent actually for eagles. And those of you who think the high voltage poles are dangerous for eagles, they are not. It's the medium voltage ones. My background is electrical engineering, so trust me, I know. And the reason is because the high voltage typically are 100,000 volts and higher. And 100,000 volts means you have to have a huge distance between the poles. That means from one phase to the next. The distance is so large that there is no danger of the eagle nest, of the eagle wings crossing. If you hang onto one of the phases, it doesn't matter. You will not electrocute yourself. The moment you touch ground at the same time or another phase, that is where electrocution happens. And that happens sometimes on medium voltage that are around 13, 14, 15,000 volts, or sometimes in Chicago they have 5,000, 7,000 volts and so on. It depends on the type of network that they have. And those are more dangerous because the eagle can occasionally, especially when it's carrying something, cross the poles. I just had to make that remark. Okay, that tower is not live, says Bill. Thank you, Bill Kitchen. So that tower is not live, but even if it were live, it is not. Those high voltage poles are not an issue. Okay, so thank you to, and that was, oops, I have so many screens open. That was Chris. Thank you for that. So that was the Wetland Center contribution. So now let's move on to Kathy's contribution. 1 second. So Kathy is next. And Kathy writes to me about the, and I can't even say this word, Lake, oh my goodness, Quinsigamond. No, I'm sure I mispronounced that completely. Quinsigamond or Quinsigamond. But she makes me aware of that. Eagles having a lunch. And she likes this nest. So let me just open this up and just look at my notes here. Here's a link to the video of the past summer. I believe this is the first year these eagles nested here. I think these eagles might have been surprised how busy Lake is in the summer, since they built their nest in winter. Actually, they don't worry so much, you know. They don't worry because they're very urbanized. You'll see I added a bit notes about issues in the nest they had. One of the eagles was found malnourished after it fledged. Mass fish game tries to tag all eagles. They are trying to bring the population back there, so that's fine. There are only about 50 or so nests in that area now. So thank you for that contribution. Very good. So beautiful. So this is all her own footage. You see how wonderful it is that we're getting all this information. And I find this incredibly interesting. So there is Kathy Newton's webpage. Thank you, Kathy, for that. And now we move on to Sherry. And Sherry says, I know how much you love data. Well, Sherry, that's spot on. I love data. And she tells me there's happy news too, and that in Virginia, the population is really exploding of eagles. So they've reached over 1,000 pairs there. Thank you. That's great news. And you can see the map that shows the position of all the nests. This is really remarkable. So thank you, Sherry, for that very nice note. Well, having said that, now we're going to jump to Mary. So Mary writes to me, that is the contribution of all the nests. And now we're going to have some interesting contribution from one of the, I think it's the Southwest, yes. It must be the Southwest Florida nest. Mary, excuse me, I should know this, right? You're from the Southwest. So Mary Miller writes to me, and they gave a quiz there. They gave a quiz about all the different eagles there are, okay? So there used to be 7. Then there were 8. And now there are 10. And soon there'll be 11. And as last time Carl, I remember Carl said there even 12. Well, Carl, actually what you say there is quite possible, because I talked to eagle biologist David Hancock from the Hancock Wildlife Foundation about this. The classification is something that is really complex, and I wanted to dig a little bit deeper. So I have an interview with David. So the way we're going to do this, because David is a great talker, but I don't want to make the session too long, so I have a 4-minute contribution from David Hancock, and he's going to explain a little bit about the taxonomy, and then every week we will do one sea eagle at a time. If we do one seagull at a time, that will get us quite far, and we have something for all the future sessions, just as we'll have something for eagle for kids and so on, and hopefully we'll get contributions from more and more of you and a lot of eagle biologists as they contribute. Okay, so let me just jump out of this for 1 second and get back to my folder. Gosh. Yeah, taxonomy. Here's my taxonomy folder. I was looking for something else. Where have I got it now? Oh yes, I see where it is. I see where it is. This is what I was looking for. Sorry about that. This is what I'm looking for. This is the diagram that is in one of David Hancock's books, and I'm going to expand this a little bit. And let me just explain what this means. If you Google sea eagles, or even if you Google eagles, you will find that even Wikipedia does a very not so good job at explaining. It is incredibly complex, the way the taxonomy works. And actually this simple diagram that David Hancock found explains just so, it's so much easier. So the eagle belongs to the family of kites, right? That's the family of kites, and the Latin name is on the right. So the family of kites goes into the different groups or genuses, right? And you can see, and I'm going to expand this a little bit more so you can see that. Or to the right you have the snake eagles, the harriers, the hawks, the goshawks, and so on. And to the left we have different types of hikes, and you can see, and this is where it gets really interesting, you can see there's our sea eagle, but very close to our sea eagle, just by the looks, is the vulturine fish eagle. And right next to that are the old world vultures. And this is where all this is coming from. This is where all this is coming from. The vulturine fish eagle is a different group, a different genus, but due to the genetics that we now have possible, some of these genuses are moving together, and that's where this is all coming from. But from the looks already, you can see, and this book was long before DNA analysis came out, it is obvious that there were clear links between them. It was just the systematics and the classification. However, remember, this classification does not change the animal in any way. A vulturine will always remain a vulturine. What I find personally interesting about this is I always thought that eagles don't have a sense of smell, and that seems to be the case for the bald eagle. But with the vulturine and others, and we will go through them one by one as the weeks come, it really becomes clear that the adaptation of specific genuses is due to the environment. So the vulturine, for example, loves palm oil, and we'll go into all that. It's really interesting and has very interesting diets. And obviously, I think it also has a sense of smell. So that means that some eagles can actually smell. News to me. Just makes it so interesting, doesn't it? Absolutely interesting. So I hope this was helpful. So let me now try and find the information from David Hancock. And yes, on that. So I'm going to switch off my microphone now, and hopefully this will work well. If there's an audio problem, do let me know. So I'm going to jump straight into David Hancock's. You will not see him. I just got the audio there from an interview with him. So this is 3 minutes and 50 seconds long, so just under 4 minutes, and he's going to talk a little bit about the taxonomy. Here we go.
So when a boat came back in the end of the 1600s from exploring somewhere in Africa, the people from the British Museum, and we'll speak of it from a British perspective, would be down on the docks. I mean, full of excitement. I mean, obviously the wives were...
You could have been one of them, right?
Well, I would have been. I would have wanted to have been on the boat, except for the discomfort. But I would have liked to have been on the boat capturing these new species. So the museum crews would go down and take these boxes and jars and take them back to their museum. And then they would spend the next year, 2, 3, 4, 5 going over these collections. And it was to take the jars and the bottles and the boxes and put them into this kind of into some kind of order.
Right.
And so people started to define this order. Mammals, birds, that's a pretty big one. Reptiles. And then when you get into birds, defining whether they were parrots or ducks or shorebirds or falcons, hawks. Order came to this. Well, it wasn't all that long into the late 1700s, into the 1800s, the boxes coming off these ships were pretty incredible. I mean, the world was out finding new continents. I mean, they were finding the different parts of the North American continent, the East. Now they were exploring the western side. They were exploring all Australia and parts of all the New Guinea Islands. So the boxes, the stuff that came back would have been awesome. Yes, for a museum, man. These were the glory days. They were really the exciting days of what on earth was in the world. We're cataloging the world. So to catalog the world effectively is like every catalog, you need to have an index. That was how we defined these. It was the measurements of skull in particular, particularly feet and wing lengths, that determined what kind of a bird classification you went into. Now, today we have a totally different thing. That was the... Now, of course, I'm getting old, so I have trouble.
Okay.
What was the term? I used it telling you before. The phrenology, the look... No, it's not quite the right word. The physical attributes were one thing, and that's what they measured. But today, a whole new science has come along.
Yes, right.
And that's the genetics. So now we can look inside, not only inside the animal. Some of the determination was done on the inside of mammals. You saw, did they have one gut or 4 guts and ruminating part? Well, that would how you also define animals. But now you look at the blood and you look at the tissue and you look at the DNA. And all of a sudden, there's now a really definitive way of defining the phylogenetic, meaning the evolutionary relationships between creatures. So now, every species, going back to Linnaeus's time, one of the things that Mr. Carl Linnaeus determined was that to make bird animals, every creature, distinct from every other one, you had to give it 2 names, a genus and a species.
Right.
It's called the binomial, bi, 2, name, nomial, 2-name structure. Now, later on, some people tacked on a 3rd name.
All right.
And that's the subspecies. If you're a plant biologist, it's kind of related to having a variety. But subspecies is somewhere between 2 species. We're not sure if it belongs to that species or this one. Usually a subspecies is a transition. So when a boat came back in the end of the 1600s from exploring somewhere in Africa, the people from the British Museum...
Okay, I hope that was okay, that the contribution went okay, that we got that correct with the sound and everything. So you can see David Hancock would have loved to live in Charles Darwin's or in Linné's time. By the way, I lived in Sweden, and I remember seeing this. I think Linné was also in Uppsala, if I remember correctly, University of Uppsala. And I remember actually looking. There's a part of the university is dedicated there to him. So it was very interesting. I think it was Uppsala University, but I'm not completely sure. But I do remember seeing it. So very, very interesting. So that was that contribution. So let's see now where we are. So that's gone all very fine. What do I have next on my list? That was the Barry, we've got that one. Make sure I have everything. So that was Mary's contribution. Thank you very much, Mary. So that has sparked off a lot of interest, and we will go through these one by one. Yeah, you know, there's one thing I do want to tell you quickly, which is quite interesting. So let me just switch back to my here. There's my water eagle. So I hope you're all enjoying this. I don't know how we're doing with time. We're actually very good on time. My goodness, it's gone really fine. And yeah, Christian, put the black eagles in Africa on your list. I see that. It will. I have lived in South Africa, by the way. So yes. So yes, it will be part of the part of the list. What I did want to show you is something really cool, which we can do in future. Is I now have a dial-in number. I have a dial-in number, which means you can call me direct. You can test it if you want to. Test it. You are very welcome. If there's anything you want to contribute, here is the dial-in number for the show. Isn't that fantastic? So you will be live on the show, and you can contribute. So I think that just makes it even better, because I'm reading your comment. But if you want to really have your voice heard, or if there's a suggestion you would like to make, a question, if I can answer it or address to the audience, you're very welcome to contribute. Yeah, just please don't be a troll. That's my only thing. And do watch the language. I'm very strict here to have a clean channel for children. There's no swearing or anything. And I want to keep it really clean for the joy of everyone. That's the only request I have. So do respect that. Okay, so there's your dial-in number if that is of interest, right? So you're very welcome. My phone is live then, and I'll put the dial-in number if you don't want to dial in now. If you got something at a future date to contribute, you can definitely do that, right? So very much. Oh, I did forget something. My goodness, I forgot this wonderful contribution from Lady Hawk. I just remember. And so here's your dial-in number. But Lady Hawk, I nearly forgot the most wonderful thing, and I'm so glad I remembered it. I thought there was something on my endless list here, and that's Lady Hawk's wonderful contribution, which I have as part of the nest. And you know why this is absolutely magnificent. I'm going to just switch this over. There we go. So I'm just going to leave this. You can phone if you want to, but let's go to Lady Hawk. She sent me these incredible images of the growth of an eaglet. And as we go through it, I just want to tell you one interesting thing that I found in literature. It's a contribution here, and this is really beautiful. I will give you the link to this. But what you see here is the rate of growth. The rate of growth. What does the rate of growth mean? It means the following. I'm going to expand this now. So what you see here is on the x-axis, that's the horizontal axis, you see the age. 20 days. Let's think, for example, where the northeast nest is. They are somewhere around 11 and 13. And you can see on the other axis the gain of weight in grams. If you don't know how much this is, 100 grams is approximately 3 to 3.5 ounces. If you want to think in ounces, which is really complex, there's 16 ounces to a pound, which makes it really complex because I don't have 16 fingers, but that's the way the system goes. But if you think in ounces, it's about 3.5 ounces to 100 grams. So what you can see is very interesting. If you look at the northeast Florida nest, we are somewhere, I'm going to expand this, we're somewhere in the middle, going up to this point. You can probably just see my mouse there. So they are growing at the moment at about a daily rate of 72, and those are females. Females grow faster than males, but approximately 60, 70 grams, and they reach the maximum growth rate, at actually after about 1 month. That's where it gets, you see after 20 days, and then after a month, that's 30 days. Well, you can't see that at the moment. Hang on, I'm just going to blend out the phone number. There you go. Now you can see the axis. So after 30, you can see the rate of increase in weight, in absolute mass, is most after about 30 days, and then it goes down again. So very interesting. This has been such an informative, thank you, SassePhoto. Well, thank you so much. It takes a lot of preparation to do this, but I so enjoy bringing this across. So that I just wanted to mix this with Lady Hawk's incredible information, so you know, for the Northeast Florida nest, in about 15 days, they will have their maximum growth. And if you want to say, well, Christian, that doesn't help me. That doesn't help me. I don't understand this. There are other graphs that show you the absolute weight. And I'm just going to expand that. This is an amazing, this is absolutely amazing. So the weight here is in kilograms. Again, sorry about that. That's about 2.2 pounds to kilogram. And again, the first line on the axis is about 20 days. So at 20 days, if you go up there, 20 days, you can see that the weight after 20 days is approximately, I think this is 20 days. Let me just make sure. Yes, it is 20 days. It's correct. After 20 days, the weight is approximately 1 kilogram, which corresponds just over 2 pounds. So you can see how rapidly they're growing. It's incredible. And you can see it's a type of S-curve. Okay, so it's an S-curve. Initially, the gain of weight is not that much, although the rate is much bigger. And then it sort of slopes and it goes into an S and maximizes. And after, I think, 10, 12 weeks, they are bigger than their parents. It's absolutely stunning. So this is really great data. And they go into all kinds of different things, which I will not here, but really a beautiful paper to read. And that as background now. And let's jump to Lady Hawk's beautiful. So what she's done is incredible. I just wanted to show you this. Well, as I want to show you, Windows does its own thing. But she's given me these different folders. So this is data from E9. Okay, so this is on the southwest nest. E9, just as it was born. And you remember this very well. This was on the 31st of December. I remember this so well. This was the most beautiful thing that we had in the new year. And you can see these amazing screenshots. Thanks again to the Pritchett family here for hosting this camera. But you can see the size. And you remember there was one egg that didn't hatch. Well, fortunately, of course, at that time, unfortunate, but we have a scale now, which is really remarkable. So this is why these screenshots from Lady Hawk are so valuable, because you can see the relative size. What is interesting, the moment that E9 hatches, so that's after the disaster of E8, we have E9 now. It hatches the egg, and you heard this from Peter Sharp, has lost about 15% of the weight due to dehydration of the egg, right? And then the relative weight of the hatchling as compared to the total egg is about 80%, 75 to 80%. So that means if the eaglet weighs approximately 100 grams when it was born, the whole egg weighs, the eaglet will weigh about 75 to 80 grams. That's just relatively speaking. So really interesting information here. Beautiful images. I love it. I mean, the clarity of the camera is absolutely outstanding. So just the first day, all these things here. And there you can see the pip. For those of you who don't know what a pip is, there it is. I remember this so well. So that was what happened during that was day 0, you can say. So let's jump to week 1. This was 1 week later. E9, and look at that. Now you can see the relative size. So actually the non-viable egg has helped us here for a second. Look at those enormous feet already. It's absolutely stunning, isn't it? Absolutely stunning. So slowly it's beginning to be able to hold its head stable and all that. You can see it's still really helpless, but the feet are just enormous, aren't they? Just enormous. So you can see how rapidly they grow. I absolutely love this. And then we go to the next one. Let's see what happens in the next. So that's approximately now where the northeast chicks are, right? The hatchlings are. This size, massive feet here, absolutely massive feet. And you can see that it's incredible. And look at the small egg. So there's our relative size. This is why I think this is so precious here. Isn't it a magnificent compilation here? I just love it. I just love it. So let's jump to the 3rd week. So this is what is still to be. And now, as you remember, they are slowly moving to the maximum growth rate. If you remember the graph, we're going to the maximum now, and they're growing faster and faster. They're gaining more and more weight, and you can already see the very clear, the nictitating brain, all the clear features of an eagle. And this is incredible. Look at this here. So this here is, it says here, the Sharon. Yeah, okay, that's Sharon, of course. That's Lady Hawk. But you can see here the feather sheath. Isn't that absolutely stunning, right? In stunning detail. I have never seen this before. So really beautiful contribution. Let's jump to the next week, and now we come to the maximum growth rate, and that is the 4th week. Let's look at the 4th week. Oh my goodness! Isn't that adorable? It's like a clown. It looks like an eagle clown, doesn't it? Oh, and I mean, these screenshots, my goodness, what can I say, right? What can I say? It's so incredible. It's just beautiful. And huge wings already, right? Absolutely huge wings. Really beautiful. Just so incredible. Look at the size after, after 4 weeks, right? That's 4 weeks now, just a month later, and that tiny egg that wasn't viable, just in comparison. So this data is really, these images are absolutely outstanding. So let's jump to the, oh no, that's week 5. Yes, that's week 5. Oh, and here you can clearly see the change of color. So between week 4 and week 5, we can really see how the feathers are developing now. So here is the typical juvenile, the developmental first year. You can see how the feathers are quickly growing now. There's a critical view from one of the parents there. And of course, eating and completely self-sufficient at this stage. And still growing at maximum rate, right? Growing incredibly fast. In week 5, okay, and slowly declining now. Oops, sorry about that. I closed it by mistake. 1 second. I just need to reopen my window here. Go back in there. There we go. So we are now at week 6. Have you still got patience? This is week 6 now. And now it gets just more and more. And now the growth rate is declining because the wings are almost fully developed. The size is, I mean, they're already in the 6th week. It's quite incredible, isn't it? So the growth rate is now going down, actually. So very nice to see. Absolutely incredible, isn't it? I mean, the details here after 6 weeks, absolutely stunning, stunning captures, Lady Hawk, really stunning. Then let's go to the next week. So we now go to week 7. And doesn't that look very much like a juvenile now? Completely, right? So lots of flapping going on. And huge, absolutely huge. I don't remember if the non-viable egg was still visible at that time, but you can see at the wingspan here. Absolutely incredible. 7 weeks old, right? So let's jump on. Let's enjoy this. I mean, this is so beautiful footage. Really, Lady Hawk said to me, go and pick out what you want. I can't pick out anything because they're all magnificent pictures. So I don't want to pick out anything. I want to show you everything here, right? So just enjoy all these pictures. And there's massive, massive talons already. Isn't that quite incredible? So that is, yeah, that was week 9, right? So we're now at week, no, sorry, week 8. I beg your pardon. This was week 8. I beg your pardon. Was it week 8 or? Yeah, that was week 8. I beg your pardon. Now comes week 9, branching. Okay, here we go into branching now. So here we go. And there they go. There's our branching. So that's week 9. Beautiful. Oh, and look at this. Isn't that incredible? Absolutely incredible. So doing some beautiful branching there again at this incredible, incredible nest cameras here. Really marvelous. I'm glad I can show you all these. So wonderful. That's an ad from National Geographic. One second, just to put that out of the way. And then let's move on. And let's see, where are we now? Accidental Fledge. Ah, right, there was an accidental Fledge. Right, I think I remember that. Right. This is an accidental Fledge. I think it landed up below and had to climb up again. So this wasn't the real Fledge, right? So it's sort of, I think I remember these flappings from this echo. Oh, this was the accidental Fledge. My goodness. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that happens. That happens. Very nice shots from the ground here. Or was it from the ground? I'm not sure. Maybe this is all from the camera. No, this must have been all from the camera. So it's not a ground picture there. But I'm sure maybe Vicky or someone has it did some ground pictures here too. Yeah, and that was it from week 10, and thereafter it fledges, and then hopefully it lived happily ever after, right? So thank you very much for that great contribution. So that was Sharon's contribution. So finally, I wanted to just show you something else. And let's just go back to the page. I hope you're not too tired yet, but it is coming to the end. It is coming to the end, so I hope you're still okay. Someone asked me, Christian, how do you actually do how do you actually do live broadcasting? And I thought I'll quickly explain this in a few minutes and give you all my secrets. I invented this method myself. When I'm out in the field, and maybe if I'm in Florida at some stage, okay, at some stage in Florida, I can show some of you how this is done. This is how I do live broadcasting. I take my DSLR, okay? So the DSLR is just a very sophisticated camera, and many of you, and I've seen all these incredible contributions, will have such a camera, right? Now the main thing about such a camera is it has a live screen. I'm just going to switch it on. Let me just go on the menu and let me just get a picture. Oh, I don't have any pictures in here at the moment. No, I don't. But anyway, you may be seeing it. It's got a live screen. I'll just take the lens cap off. Oh, it's completely overexposed at the moment. This is not good. Well, it doesn't really matter. Okay, I'll put the lens cap back on. But I'm just going to go like this so you can see it better. Okay, so this is my live screen here. That's my live screen. And the idea is when you get an eagle here on the live screen and you have a huge telephoto lens, you can actually transmit this. Now the thing is, out in the field, it's very difficult to work with wires. So of course, some say I can use an HDMI cable, you can plug it in on the side. I don't think that's a good idea because you know how difficult it is out in the field. Eagles are moving, there's mud, there's snow, there's wind, and many other factors. So it's not a good idea to carry your computer around outside. I don't do that. So there's a trick. There's a simple trick. So what I do is the smartphone nowadays, and this is what I used a lot. If you've seen some of my live broadcasts from the Eagle Hawk, just look at my Eagle Hawk videos, you'll see lots of the live footage. So what I did is you have to somehow connect your smartphone from which you can do YouTube, live contribution, Facebook, you can go to Periscope, any channel you like. The question is, how do you couple these two together so the camera is looking at the back screen? That's the trick. And that's what I worked out. And that's what I want to just show you. So here's the trick. I'm just going to take this off for a second. This part, which I've shown in the background, and there are many different varieties of this. You can mount this, and you can see there's a special mount. You can mount this on the back of your camera, right? You can mount this on the back of your camera. There's a special bracket, and this bracket allows you. I'm just going to try and do this. It's not so easy to hold this. Yes, there we go. There we go. So I'm just going to tighten this a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So now I have a viewfinder, right? I'm looking through the viewfinder. Now this is already a lot better. The part of that is in the background. So this is the Amazon. It costs, let me just expand this a little bit. This costs $50. So you can buy this for $50, but you can also buy better ones. If you say, well, I want to really get they all work. The $50 one is just a little bit more flimsy, right? If you want something more solid, you can also take a, oh, sorry, here we are. Here we are. You can take a Zacuto. A Zacuto is more expensive. It goes up to $300. But the simple version that I showed you before also works, okay? So the idea is to get that mounting bracket. That's the first part. Now you somehow have to still attach your phone to here. And here comes the secret, okay? This is the secret. You get a part from a different supplier, and you cannot buy this on Amazon. And you go to a vendor that's called Phone Scope. And you look for a so-called C3 adapter. Just remember the word C3. And they still have it. I talked to them today just to make sure. And the C3 adapter has a custom milled, and this is the main thing, it's got a ring, a plastic ring, and it's got this adapter here. Okay, so I'm going to jump back now so you can see this a bit clearer. What I then do is I take this plastic ring and I just, you're going to love this, I just use some tape, okay, some black tape, and tape it onto the back. So I took the view, you know, that eyepiece simply off, put it on with some tape, and they almost match perfectly. And if they don't match, you can put a little bit of foam in between. I think that's what I did, right? So that they match, you see? So that ring you put on top, and now you can mount this other piece. So your iPhone goes in here, okay? So let's just do it. I just need to take my iPhone out quickly out of this case. So let's just do this quickly. So I want to show you this really works, right? So you take your iPhone and you put it into this bracket, right? And they have different brackets for different iPhone. If you have a smartphone, this company, this company Phone Scope has it for the iPhone 6. They have Androids, they have everything. This was just one particular one, okay? So I put my phone right in here and it snaps in. There you go. Your phone is now secure. And now you can see the iPhone, the thing about the iPhone is that the camera is very off-center. It's very difficult to attach, but now it's not. Now comes the trick. I can attach this now directly to the back, okay? And let me see if I can just put the camera on 1 second. So you can, you believe me. There you go. There is my picture, okay? At the moment it's dark, but there's my picture from the back of the screen, okay? There you go. That's the picture from the back of the screen, and you can now see. Sorry, the green screen's playing a little bit of noise in here. Sorry about that. So it's not coming across so well, but I hope you can still see it. I need to do some adjustments there with the light. But that's the trick. And now I have a broadcasting station. I can zoom in digitally now. I can zoom in digitally, and I can do all this wonderful work with this setup. And you have a complete broadcasting thing here as long as you use the live view of the camera. That's it. That's it. So that's my secret. And strange enough, nobody talks about this, right? They all give you all kinds of expensive solutions, but that's my advice, and that gives you a great, a great advantage. So I hope, I hope that was of use to you. You know, the whole broadcast, and so I think that was enough for now. So next week we're going to have the Decora. We're going to have the Decora nest, and we're going to have many other nests. There's a long list, so it's going to go on. And do please, if there are any children, send me the information. That's fine. It stays confidential, by the way. I don't give the names of children out. Everything remains completely confidential, right? So that's all fine. And if you don't want your name mentioned, no problem. I respect all that. So I hope you enjoyed it. It was quite an adventure, hasn't it? And how it's become, yeah, it's 1.5 hours now. So thank you so much for for joining, and do tell your friends and subscribe to my channel. That it really helps me if you subscribe. So press the subscribe, and there's a bell too. So there's a subscribe button, subscribe, and then don't forget to press the bell, because then you get notifications whenever I'm live again. So I'm looking so much forward to sometime I'll visit in Florida. I don't know when, but it'll come. And it's so nice to have so many friends now. I want to thank all of you for your wonderful contributions, and I want to wish you most of all a peaceful and Merry Christmas. Okay, so thank you, and thanks for thank you for being with me all the time. So I'll just have to find the button now after all this on my screen. Okay, so have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you again in a week's time. Thank you. And we should have a first hatch in the Southwest Florida nest, and I might be on Periscope then. So thank you so much.